Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Just Because Wrestling. And my God, this is going to be a bleak episode. I'm not looking forward to doing this one. For the simple reason that we haven't done an episode in about 2 or 3 weeks now.
There's been a reason for it.
There's been a reason for it. There's just been so much, just bad things happening in the wrestling world. Really,
there was nothing positive to say about the wrestling business in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, like there was nothing really to kind of report on and stuff, and then all of a sudden everything happened, and it was just awful things. And we just kind of had to sit back and let it play out, and just kind of like if we were to report on it as it went on, we'd have to be doing one of these every day, like because just more and more stuff was coming out every day, and I suppose it's kind of settled down a small bit now to the point where we kind of know what's what and who's done what and whatever, like so. Yeah, I suppose we'll kind of start with the most important thing that's kind of happened over that's transpired over the last few weeks, and that is the speaking out movement. I suppose like it's a bad thing that's started a good thing, I guess, in a sense. So if you don't know, about 2 weeks ago, a woman came forward and basically stated that David Starr, possibly the hottest independent wrestler going, like was in a sexually abusive, kind of an abusive relationship with him, and David Starr went out and kind of made comments on it, basically saying, the old reliable "I'm not a sexual predator" but statement, I suppose bottom line is many people spoke out about David Starr, and
then the ball started rolling.
It started to snowball, and more wrestlers started getting called out by more women, not just women, but like other wrestlers in the industry.
Yeah. And it just turns out that the wrestling business was a very, very dirty business.
Yeah, it's like there's been like 2 pandemics this year. It's like there's been,
especially kind of the more UK side of things.
Yeah, it's mostly there. It's mostly the UK
that we know of, or that's been reported on so far anyway.
Yeah,
but
like it has been prevalent in America as well.
Yeah.
But it seems
case in point being like Joey Ryan. The most, it just fucking sucks. Like
it's horrible, especially for these guys like who David Starr especially is a guy who we both were big fans of. We both met him.
Yeah.
And like seemed like a a good guy, like, but clearly not.
Yeah. And obviously anything we have said, and I would be kind of more on that side where I have always praised David Starr.
Yeah.
And I've always been a huge fan of his, but obviously that was without the knowledge that we have now. So,
like, we obviously don't endorse anything that he's done or said, like, and since this has come to light, we won't be supporting David Starr anymore, and he won't have a career anymore, so there won't be anything to support. But we won't be supporting him in anything he does in his with his future, whatever that may be. But like, it's just a shame that like a guy like David Starr, who had the independent wrestling world basically at his feet, and was making like real waves, without a contract kind of thing. Like, he kind of proved that you didn't need a contract to kind of be big in the wrestling business, and he threw it all away by just being a prick basically, and just being a bad person. And of course, fair play to the women who had the courage to speak out, and who had who were brave enough to kind of come forward with their stories, and thus give confidence to all the other women who have spoken out against their abusers, and men as well, because like guys like Keith Lee, for example, a guy who recently just came forward with his story.
Yeah.
And
bravely,
and fair play to him, because it's hard for everyone to no matter who you are to tell your story, because it's something that isn't easy to talk about, but it's prompted a lot of kind of uncomfortable conversations, but conversations that need to happen. And it's kind of like people who are popular in this business, you know, who are big in this business and who, you know, were great wrestlers and stuff, but you know, there's no room for them, you know, in the wrestling world if they're bad people, like, you know what I mean? Basically, you know, like I was just saying that, you know, it's incredibly hard to speak out about, like, you know, these experiences and like what it's done, what this kind of speaking out movement has done is it's prompted like conversations that need to happen, albeit uncomfortable conversations, but they do need to happen. And like I was saying, like plenty of these people who have been accused and who have been, you know, ousted from the wrestling business, you know, they were brilliant wrestlers with huge fan bases and like, you know, could have gone extremely far in the business, but like, you know, there's no room for people like that. Like, you know, there's no room for people like that in any business. So yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it's necessary. Like these people need to go. There's no room for them, you know. Like people like David Starr, Travis Banks, Ligero, Dave Christ, Joey Ryan, Michael Elgin.
Yeah.
Like all these
Don't have
guys.
to name them all. Like
there's so many. There's no, and there's plenty more who are like who are still being accused, but have yet to kind of be, you know, proven guilty, I guess.
Yeah.
I suppose time will tell. I suppose over the next few weeks it'll kind of be more. It'll be revealed, I guess. But yeah, just plenty of people who just don't have careers in the wrestling business anymore, and rightfully so, because like they've used, and like it's they've used their position in the wrestling world to abuse these women. You know what I mean?
Which is like, you know,
like Travis Banks is a prime example because like he, you know, he helped coach Millie McKenzie, who came like Millie McKenzie, one of the brightest upstarts on the UK independent scene. Like I think she's only like 22 or something, or 21.
Yeah.
And you know, got into the wrestling business when she was like 15 or 16, and you know, entered into a relationship with Travis Banks when she was 17. But Travis Banks basically said like, you know, you're staying with me, or you know, I'm not going to promote you, or I'm not going to, you know, put your name up there. And when she did eventually end it, like, you know, she put up the text. You can go onto her Twitter page and find it, and find the text if you are, and look at her story if you want. I mean, I recommend that you do. I recommend that you look at all these women's stories because it's an eye opener, really. Like, you know, and like it kind of gives, in the kind of grander scheme of things, like outside of wrestling, if you like, I would imagine that some people who saw these posts were then, you know, prompted to kind of speak out themselves if they've been affected by these kind of you know, these kind of issues. But yeah, like just it's awful, really. Like, you know, and I don't know. You know, I'd like to say that, you know, that that it's over and that, you know, everyone's been found out, but I don't know. Maybe probably not. Like, really, like, I mean, if there's one, there's two. Kind of
yeah,
thing, like.
yeah. There's definitely a lot more to come. Well, there's I've no doubt that not everyone has been named.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would be wary. But yeah, just, you know, it's just not a good situation or anything for these guys. So, you know, just sucks.
It sucks, but I do want to reiterate that if you have been affected by this kind of issue, and you have like suffered, you know, at the hands of an abuser, whether that be mental, physical, sexual, emotional, anything like that, like don't be afraid to speak out, and don't be afraid to confide in someone, whether it's, you know, publicly or privately, and just, you know, speak to someone, and I promise you that like they'll help you. I mean, like, unless they're a complete dirtbag as well, they'll help you. Um, you know, whether you're a man or a woman, speak out, and you know, let these people be punished for what they've done. Like, because you don't deserve to be punished, that they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, just, you know, that's what I want to say. Just if you have been affected, and you are a victim, you know, try, like, I know it's hard, but try and find try and find it in yourself to say it to someone, anyone at all, whether it's a friend, a family member, you know, co-worker, anyone. Just because I promise you that'll help. I promise you that'll help, because I like to believe that people can be decent.
Yeah. I know it's not looking that way in the wrestling business
no,
but
no,
there
it's
is
not. But
good people.
There is good people out there. Like I said, in a world full of Joey Ryans, be a Titus O'Neil.
Yeah.
Be Titus if you can be, because that guy is just a saint.
Yeah.
so
yeah, we'll probably move on from that. So yeah,
move on to the next depressing story. I suppose what we'll talk about next, I guess, is that WWE has been affected by the virus.
Yeah. I read today that there's been more new cases this week in Florida than there has been in Europe.
Yeah, there was nearly 10,000 cases there one day. Like every day this week, Florida has beaten their record, which is hilarious.
It's not really hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's such a Florida thing. It's so Florida. Have you ever seen the Big Mouth episode of Florida?
Yeah.
Literally. Based on a true story. But, yeah, so, basically, WWE, just have a load of positive tests, and, but that's not affecting them in any way, shape, or form. They're still running shows. They're still going ahead, ploughing on. No one's allowed to wear a mask. Which is ridiculous. I don't know. I can't understand this. There's a parent, you're not allowed to wear a mask when they're literally selling masks on the website.
It's WWE, like they're just a backwards. I tweeted it was just a backwards thought process from a outdated company.
Yeah.
Like it's just.
But an outdated backwards man.
Not fun.
No, it's not fun. Like among what we know Renee Young's tested positive. We know Kayla Braxton has tested positive for the second time since March.
Yeah. We
know Adam Pearce, backstage producer, has tested positive, and we know Jamie Noble, another backstage producer, has tested positive. There's been a lot more. That's only 4 I've named, but there's been a lot more. There's apparently close to between 25 and 30 is what I've heard, and and apparently through all departments, like in-ring talents, producers, sound guys, everyone's kind of been affected. And still
ridiculous.
And like that, Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn must be sitting at home going, see?
But like Sami Zayn in particular will still have heat when he comes back, just because he didn't go to work to get some fucking stupid virus.
Yeah.
That's how this. Renee Young getting heat because she revealed she had COVID just to protect anyone who's around her. This is the company we're dealing with here.
And
this is the thought
process. And not just Renee Young getting heat from the company, but people thinking that it was a purposeful thing to affect AEW. That she purposefully contracted coronavirus so that she could infect Jon Moxley.
Yeah. I think her main priority was giving her husband this disease. Like, come on, people.
I know, jeez.
Not everything is about wrestling.
Petty wrestling rivalries.
Come on.
Yeah. So that's just ridiculous. Yeah. What can you say really? WWE should shut down production. I mean, they should shut it down. They should take a few weeks to sort it all out. They're not going to, because America is not going to. I don't want to get political here, but just America's handling of this whole situation has been ridiculous. You know what I mean? We are a small country. We have 5 million people here.
Yeah.
But yesterday, in 5 million people, we had 3 new cases and 1 death, which is pretty good going, I must say. America has there's been 500,000 deaths worldwide, just over 500,000 deaths worldwide from this virus. America has contributed 125,000 of that. What's that, a quarter? That's a quarter of all deaths worldwide have come from America. And America were slow to get this. America came after Italy and after England and after China. So, plenty of wrestling companies. Ring of Honor is one. Impact have done it sensibly enough as well. They've kind of shut down production. Ring of Honor hasn't come back yet. They've shut down production and said, look, we'll wait till this is kind of blown over a bit. And like Impact's kind of way of doing it was they just taped like 3 months worth of TV back in like March or something, and then I think they have another TV taping coming just after Slammiversary, and they're going to tape like stuff to get them through to like September, October, I think.
Yeah.
So, so like that now they've taken kind of the most precautions they can do, but like it was grand up until everything went wrong for the kind of like it seemed fine, no fans there, and then fans came in, and then shit hit the fan. But I don't know. Like Roman Reigns must be so happy with himself that like he's sitting at home, he's with his family, he's safe, he's healthy, and like he doesn't have to worry about risking his neck, risking his health, his life for for a match with Baron Corbin in the main event of SmackDown. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
See his interview he did with Alex McCarthy, actually, Romans.
Yeah, I saw that.
He kind of, I'm looking forward to him coming back because he sounds like, he's got heat in him. Like, he's got like a fire in his belly.
Yeah.
That he wants to come back and prove something. That like the exact quote was, "I want to prove that I'm not just at the top of the mountain. I am the mountain," which is sounds like a heel, but he won't be. But yeah, like I think Renee Young seems to be, not severely affected by the virus, at least. She's kind of still active on Twitter and she's still saying stuff, asking for Canadian sweets, which is kind of adorable. And everyone else, I don't think there's anyone severely affected, but they're still positively tested, like, and they could affect people then in turn who could potentially be fatally affected by this virus. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we are still going ahead with the show. Extreme Rules, the horror show, is still going on. And yeah,
yeah, not fun this podcast.
No,
really,
it's not.
Is it?
It's not a fun episode.
Is there anything else?
Tessa Blanchard.
Oh God. I'm going home. This is it. We'll come back next week.
So yeah, if you haven't heard, this is probably the most recent kind of storyline or story that's come out. Tessa Blanchard, who was the Impact World Champion, has been stripped of her title and fired from the company, basically because she refused to work. And I know I just said that there's a pandemic going on and people like Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are staying home and stuff. She wasn't asked to come. She was asked to send promos in like via video, and she wouldn't do it. And she was basically saying she held the title hostage, and I don't know, did she have the physical title? I'm pretty sure she might have the actual physical belt as well.
Yeah. Somewhere. Oh, she does apparently.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
And she's refusing to send it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But she's been fired and stripped, and now the Slammiversary main event has gone from a 5-way to a 3-way. But it is going to be a 4-way. There's a mystery opponent, so I presume it's going to be one of the debuts, one of the teases that they've put out.
Wonder who it is.
The favourites are Eric Young and EC3.
EC3, I'd say, yeah.
Because there was on Impact there like 2 weeks ago or last week. Coincidentally, it was Michael Elgin was on TV and he was on the phone call with a fellow Canadian, and which would be Eric Young, because Eric Young is Canadian. So
yeah, interesting. But Michael Elgin's gone now too, so
that's it. Yeah. So I don't know.
It's all up in the air, really.
It's all up in the air. I would like it to be EC3.
Yeah.
Because I think he could take Impact again. Like he would. I think he would do well at the top of Impact. Like
And he's meant to have a gimmick change, so
yeah.
There you go.
But if you don't know, the 3 remaining members of that match are Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, and Trey Miguel. So I don't know. Wait and see how Slammiversary pans out. But yeah, Tessa Blanchard's no more. And you would Tessa Blanchard is a person who has had controversy around them, for the last year or two anyway.
Yeah.
Allegations of bullying, racism, that like stubbornness backstage, kind of being hard to work with, and you would imagine that she would be kind of people wouldn't want to touch her. but apparently WWE have sent out feelers into signing her and are deemed the front runners in snapping her up, which is a bold move on
Be a
WWE's
risky
part.
move, like unless they're signing her for like less than what she's worth and they're just going to take a chance, or maybe I just don't see. I just don't see what they're planning on doing with her.
Yeah, I mean, like,
especially with what's all that's going on about the speaking out stuff and stuff and the controversies that she's had in her career, and she, bear in mind, it's a very young career at that.
That's the thing, like, to have this kind of heat at 24
yeah,
is kind of like,
and again, not to get kind of political and stuff, but she's had allegations of racism against her and stuff like this, and what's going on in the world with the Black Lives Matter stuff movement. Do you want to touch that, and do you want to? And again, she's 24, and this is the stuff that's already out about her.
Yeah, and like
as a wrestler, she is really, really good. But
that's the thing. Like, she's a fantastic in-ring talent.
What balances out what?
Like, she's a fantastic in-ring talent, but like, you know, that doesn't mean you get to act like act like a horrible person.
And like, I'm surprised. I'd be interested as to who's making this call about interest, and that's to say if there actually is interest, because we don't know.
Yeah,
but
this is just rumor.
This is coming from Meltzer, and you don't know where he's getting his information from. But like, apparently she was even difficult to deal with at the Mae Young Classic, and that's why they didn't sign her then.
Yeah.
So and from the stories that have gone on and the way she left Impact, it's not as if she's gotten any better by the sounds of it.
It's gotten worse anyway.
So you're thinking then, what do you like?
I don't know.
And is it like the only reason I think that they want to sign her is because they think that AEW are going to try and sign her as well.
Yeah, and I said to you anyway off thing that like Tessa Blanchard's father works for AEW, and I couldn't see them.
But then in interviews, Cody has said who the one person who you'd love to sign, and he said Tessa. But like now, with all that baggage, is the story still the same?
And like, it's not like that. There's other people in the wrestling industry who don't have baggage. Everyone has baggage, but this early into your career, you know what I mean? Like everyone, like when you think about everyone else who's had baggage, at least they've built a legacy and they've built something to fall back on to be like, all right, yeah, they did that, but look at everything else they've done, kind of thing, you know.
It comes from it like you have to look at does the positive outweigh the negative, and you look at. The prime example of that was Shawn Michaels in the 90s.
Yeah, true.
Where Vince put up with a lot of shit because Shawn Michaels
was fantastic,
the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And as well, he was afraid in case Shawn would go to WCW.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing now with NXT and AEW that,
you take that risk.
Are they willing to take risks like this that they wouldn't have done 2 years ago when AEW didn't exist? Because you don't want her to go to AEW then.
You run the risk of like her going to your top competitor.
But like if I was them, like it hasn't ended well in any promotion she's gone to so far, so just let her go and let it implode. Like,
yeah, I mean, like I would be very hasty to sign her anyway. Yeah. I would kind of.
It's not as if the women's division in AEW is going to be their key selling point anyway, because she can go there and she could wrestle, but like there's not many people who she can wrestle good matches with in that division.
And like, I don't know
at the moment.
I don't know at the moment, yeah. But I don't know how Tessa Blanchard feels or thinks or whatever. But like, you would imagine. Well, I would imagine anyway that being put in such a prominent role in Impact, being made the first ever female world champion in Impact, and again at such a young age, like she is actually as well the youngest world champion in Impact history.
Yeah.
And like you can imagine, I could totally imagine her saying like going to AEW, seeing that like the women's division isn't as stacked as many other women's divisions. It's not even as stacked as Impact's women's division, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like saying like, what if I go for the men's title? Like I've already established that I can hold the top title in other companies. You know what I mean? Like, I mean it's hard to kind of, when you put someone that young and who clearly has kind of ego issues. You know what I mean? Like, she clearly has a very high opinion of herself. And you put her in these prominent positions at the top of the card, like it is like you said, kind of the Shawn Michaels syndrome. Like they're kind of like you take someone that young, that cocky, and you make them the world champion, and everything just like they immediately think that they're, that they run the world. Like, but like you said, I mean, I guess she could change. I guess, I don't know, maybe. Like,
you could, because look at Shawn. Shawn is
Sean
a prime example.
Shawn was a deplorable person back in the 80s.
And maybe it's a thing where, like, they think that they can get her into the system, and then she could have a mentor in Shawn, where Shawn will be like, "Look, I've been through it all.
Well, like,
I was an asshole. Everyone thought I was an asshole. Everyone thought I was a,
If Vince was, or if whoever was adamant on signing her, if Triple H was adamant on signing her, if I was Shawn, say, right? Let's imagine, let's play like fantasy signee, and let's say Triple H wants to sign Tessa Blanchard to NXT. Like, Shawn Michaels should approach him and be like, look, you remember who I was. Look what she's like. Yeah. I know that the current NXT contract is kind of like I think it's 5 years is like the minimum you can sign for NXT. I would make the exception with her, and I would sign her for a year, maybe 2, and just see how she gets on, and like see if there's any issues, if any issues arise, and then revisit the contract, or put her on like a temporary contract. You know what I mean? So like, put a clause in her contract that if any shit comes out, like if there's any issues from any of the other talent, then like you're out of here, like you're gone, like. But I don't know, like, especially like with someone who's kind of been notoriously labelled a bully, and like there would be these fucking the Be a Star stuff, like, and their constant anti-bullying campaigns.
But it's not as if they haven't. It's not as if it's going to be the first time they have someone on the roster who's been labelled a bully.
Yeah, JBL.
Still works there. You know what I mean? Like, so they have been able to find ways to get around stuff like this. And does the talent outweigh?
See, that's the thing as well. Like the thing is, she is young. She is really young. So, like, at least what she's done hasn't been illegal, technically, I guess. I mean, it's still been terrible.
Very, very bad. But
it's been terrible.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like she's
that we know of. Anyway.
That we know of, anyway. Exactly. But like, I suppose, like, at this age, being that talented, that young, it's bound to go to your head and give you some sort of complex, like, superiority complex. So maybe the impression is, if we get her, we lock her down, sign her to a 5-year deal for NXT, keep her there for 5 years, and then by the time she's 29, 30, she'll have matured. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, it's a like, she just seems like a bad person at the moment, like, but
just from looking at
from the current situation and from what's come out, but we'll have to wait and see.
And it's weird because, like, obviously we don't know the whole story and stuff, but like, you never hear kind of bad things about Tully.
Yeah,
her dad. Like, you just never heard.
You would think that he would say something to her, like, or like sit her down and be like, "Stop acting like a fucking prick."
It's really strange. Because like, especially with the name Blanchard has been so synonymous with wrestling that, like, she's just dragging it through the mud right now, and it's just a strange situation. I hope that eventually it'll lead to her turning it around, and just fucking
maybe own up to it. Maybe just own up to the shit you've done and apologize to people. Like, you know what I mean?
But it's interesting then with WWE, because there was a lot of people when the allegations came out about her a few months ago that, like, there was a lot of people in WWE accused her. Chelsea Green was one. There was a few more that saying you bullied me for years, and it'll be interesting then. You're bringing her in.
Be working with them.
Yeah. So, like, and it's not to say like that. It's not to say that it hasn't happened in the past where people have worked
with people they don't
each
like.
other. Yeah. So, like, it's just
it's a weird situation. And like, yeah, especially someone who was so prominent, like this time last year was such like a big, big prominent figure in the wrestling world. Like, cause like she was, a lot of people were lauding her as the best women's wrestler in the world. Like,
Yeah.
Um,
just goes to show like that. You know, when they didn't sign her initially, and everyone was like, "Why? What?"
Yeah.
And me too. I was like, "Why didn't they sign this girl?" But like, just goes to show that like these people actually know what they're doing and know what they're talking about.
it,
You know,
like.
no, they're out with signing her now. But like, I would imagine
with the baggage, it's kind of
yeah, but
out there.
I would imagine like it'll be Triple H, I'd say, who'll be dealing with her mostly, and like Shawn Michaels and all these people. And I think that they feel if we sign her and get hold of her, we can lead her down the right path. And I hope that's what happens if they do sign her.
I did see a thing though that I don't know, was it Sean Ross Sapp or Ryan Satin, but I think it might have been Satin, said that like he'd be surprised if they do sign her, because
I'd be surprised too.
No, but he said like a lot of people, not even because of what's going on, just because a lot of people who they wanted to sign just before the pandemic broke out, they couldn't because of financial reasons.
Yeah.
So it would it'd be kind of difficult for them to have let go all these people, and
then turn around
and sign Tessa Blanchard, who not
but
only,
like it's not. It's not WWE to do that, like, or to not do that, because
not out of character. Yeah.
they signed Gronk during the pandemic and then effectively released him afterwards. But still, like it's not as if.
Yeah.
Do you think Vince gives a shit? Like,
no, he doesn't.
Like, fucking, people are gonna get mad because I released
Leo
Hawkins Rush. Thinks? Yeah, you know what I mean. Kurt Hawkins actually had a baby this week. See that?
Did he?
Yeah.
No,
didn't even know his wife was pregnant.
I didn't either.
He got fired while his wife was pregnant. Huh?
Yeah. CM Punk got fired on his wedding day.
Great company. Maria Kanellis got fired on maternity leave.
Yeah, exactly. Another one.
Great company.
I saw actually. Here's another kind of news tidbit. That's small but more positive, I guess. Apparently, Gallows and Anderson are close to signing an American deal with an American company.
Interesting.
Apparently, the front runner is Impact. So
I'm really surprised that AEW aren't looking at them or aren't.
Yeah, it might be them. I don't know, but apparently Impact is the front runners.
I think they're too big for Impact. Do you not think that?
Well, like, see, the thing is, right? They do want to go back to Japan, but they obviously can't right now.
Yeah.
And I think Impact are willing to let them do both.
Or like maybe it's a short-term deal or something. But like AEW would be able to even do both, surely.
Yeah, but like
Moxley's the US champion over there.
But you think, but like think about who they let do it. It's Moxley and Jericho. Like Jericho, one of the greatest of all time, and Moxley, who was, one of the biggest wrestlers, was the biggest.
I feel like there's a few more that they let do it. No,
just the two of them. Like a few, like people.
There was another one. I feel like there was another person they signed. Oh, Brody Lee. Apparently Brody Lee can do it, but obviously with the pandemic he hasn't yet. But apparently he can do it.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently, I think he said that himself.
Did he?
I think he said he signed with the intentions that he'll be allowed to go to New Japan.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's properly confirmed it, but I've heard that it's the same with Lance Archer. But
he can go back.
He can go back if he wants.
Interesting. Because we all just want to see the working relationship. We all just want to see Okada and AEW, don't we?
Yeah. But like I what's withholding that is like New Japan's expansion into the US.
Yeah.
That they want to expand into the US, but I don't understand how they want to expand into the US and then they're running live shows without English commentary. They're running a whole tournament.
Surely they can do that. Surely there's a way to do English commentary.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
Sure, WWE are doing live shows with like 12 or 13 different languages commentary. Of course they can do that.
Yeah.
Like, their excuses, like, or not their excuse, it was what Kevin Kelly said was, I'm not in Japan, so I'm recording these shows at home.
Time difference.
After, I can't watch them live, so I'm recording them at home afterwards.
Can you watch them live?
I'm not sure, but they're saying it as if Kevin Kelly's the only person who speaks English over there. Like you can show, there's surely someone there.
I'm trying to think.
Like the
I think Bad Luck Fale lives in Japan.
Yeah,
I don't know if he'd be much of a commentator, but he speaks English.
Zack Sabre Jr. Like
Gino Gambino, I think he's over there.
Yeah. There's definitely a few that you could just rotate then a couple out and in.
Surely.
Like it just makes no sense.
There's surely a couple of Japanese guys who have good enough English.
Yeah,
you would think
yeah, but like it just doesn't make sense to me that like you're talking about expanding and being more worldwide and all this, and then I'm trying to watch the New Japan Cup live and I can't because it's in Japanese and it's only in Japanese.
Yeah, it's harder to watch it, certainly, especially for someone who doesn't speak Japanese.
Obviously. And they don't even give they're so disorganized. They don't even give a proper time frame as to when the English commentary will go up.
3 days.
They say the next 2 or 3 days it'll be up. That's something like fucking you'd get in fucking McDonald's. You can work there in the next 2 or 3 days. Yeah. It's just not professional and it just doesn't make sense.
They did announce their next American show actually. But it's kind of weird because it's called Lions Break 12 or something like that. It's all about the LA dojo. It's like all they're American. They're gaijin young lions basically, They're basically working a show in America, which could be okay, but it's not going to make anyone. I'm not going to be interested to turn it on really. Even though they do have some very talented young lions over there, but they're just I'm not going to watch a full pay-per-view devoted to them and yeah. Like, if I was New Japan, I would have held off on the whole American expansion thing, and I would have entered into a relationship with AEW, or try to broker some sort of working relationship with AEW, right, and run a show or a series of shows where they work, where New Japan talent is featured on AEW pay-per-views or AEW shows, like Okada, like Tanahashi, like Jay White. These are Naito and stuff. Like the big talent, have them work over there, have people get an idea of what New Japan has to offer, and then work towards the expansion to America. Only after you've kind of established these guys in America. You know what I mean?
I don't they planned this whole thing, this whole expansion into America without locking down their main American star and Kenny Omega. I know he's Canadian, but he's their Western star. Yeah. Or if you were planning this big takeover, then you should have went, because any other company would have done it. If WWE or if they have done it, or I'd imagine AEW the same. If they wanted to expand somewhere, they'd sign the people first, and then go. Look at NXT UK. They had all these people signed first, and then rolled out the tournament or whatever. Not we're expanding. We have to sign people. It just makes no sense. Yeah, it's strange. Also, just bringing up NXT UK, there's a big rumor, obviously, with what's going on, that they're looking to disband it.
Yeah, but I saw that that's been kind of.
Alex McCarthy said that it hasn't. Alex McCarthy actually shouted to him because he's another guy. It's in terms of breakout years. I think Sean Ross Sapp had one last year. Yeah. I think Alex McCarthy.
He's having it this year. Yeah.
He's with Talksport. Shout out to him. He said he's confirmed that it's not going ahead. Or they're not disbanding it, but I didn't think they would anyway, because there's been talks about them disbanding 205 Live for years now.
Since it started.
It's still running, even in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, it's still going on.
No one watches it, but still.
Yeah. That's it, it's just the dark segment of SmackDown.
Yeah, but But yeah, NXT, it'll be difficult for NXT UK. They're lucky that they have people like Pete. They'll probably move Pete Dunne back over. I would imagine Finn Balor will go over now. They'll try and get as many people. Wouldn't surprise me if Cesaro ends up there. They'll try and move everyone in now.
See, the thing is,
they're lucky they had Imperium and Walter there, because if he hadn't signed, then your entire roster probably would have been depleted with what was going on.
You would have had no big star.
Yeah.
You would have had no main star.
Bar Pete Dunne.
But Pete would move to NXT America, and apparently the plan is to keep him there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they put him on for the first one or the first lot of tapings or something
What? It's easier to name the stars who haven't had anything come out about them, the NXT UK stars. Who are we left with in terms of who we can use now? Walter. Dragunov. Was there anything come out about Tyler Bate? No.
No.
So Tyler Bate, Travis Banks. No, not Travis Banks. Sorry.
He's gone.
Sorry, not Travis Banks.
Joe Coffey's
no,
there, I think?
Tyler Bate. I'm blanking. Tyler Bate.
Trent Seven.
Yeah, not
there.
Travis Banks. Trent Seven.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got the two of them mixed up.
Yeah. Joe Coffey.
No, so I saw something come out about him. I think anyway. I didn't see the thing specifically, but I saw his name on a list.
I saw his name as I think I think you might be right there.
Apologies if we're wrong.
Yeah. But he just seems to always be in the main event scene over there for some reason.
Yeah.
I never was a big fan of him anyway, like as a wrestler. I just never got into his matches, but he's always in the main event scene.
Dane, Killian Dane.
They can move him over. I would move him over.
Where is he now? I thought he was over there.
He's NXT America, but like,
is he?
He is, yeah. But he's been very quiet recently, and he did wrestle a match. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, he wrestled Damian Priest.
Yeah.
I think it was Priest's first match after the Balor match.
You could definitely move him over.
He's after losing a load of weight as well. He's like proper like trimming him and stuff. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't moved over in the first place.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He was such a big star on the UK indie scene anyway.
If you bite the bullet, move all these stars over, then you'll actually have a decent enough roster.
I reckon if you told Cesaro, we want to move you to NXT UK for the foreseeable future. I think he'd be up for it.
Like Cesaro versus Ilya Dragunov, who doesn't want to see that?
They already had that match, no? That match happened.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was class.
Yeah, but still, I'd love to see it again. Yeah, or Cesaro Walter.
And like
Cesaro could definitely pick up Walter. It'd be great.
Yeah, I would imagine that the Walter Finn Balor match is still going ahead or still on tap for NXT TakeOver Dublin. Is that still going ahead?
As far as I know, I have tickets, so better.
I would imagine that match is still going ahead for that show, and I would hope that Balor would go over, and I would put the title on Balor and just get eyes on NXT UK.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know who I'd sign if I had to sign someone? Just if I had to sign one big guy just to put eyes on the NXT UK brand, Rampage Brown.
Yeah.
Like he is. I haven't seen one bad thing said about him by anyone on the NXT UK.
Everyone, seems like a nice guy. Yeah.
Everyone says how great he is, how professional he is, how he's the best indie wrestler in Europe.
Yeah.
Like the most, like one of the least.
Oh, he is. He is a really good talent, and
I was shocked when he wasn't snapped up in the first kind of wave of signings.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't in the original tournament.
I feel like, is he not signed to somewhere? No.
He works a lot for RevPro now, but
really?
They're not really like he's one half of the RevPro Tag Champs.
Yeah, but you could easily change that. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Like when you think about someone else who they could sign,
Yeah, it's hard. And
like Carnoir is there. I guess he's kind of making waves.
Yeah, but then it's hard. It is tough because you're then.
You're
depleting the entire. And I would. I think Triple H is the type of guy. If this was Vince now, he would snap up everyone.
There would be no indies left.
Yes, but I think Triple H is the type of guy that he doesn't want these things to die.
He likes the indies.
Yeah, and he
because it's an investment, isn't it, into the future?
Yeah.
Because it's like crop rotation. Do you know what I mean? Like you plant some, you harvest some, and then you let the others grow.
Yeah.
Plant them seeds and then harvest more. Kind of like.
But he's turned up in shows like ICW and stuff like that. So I don't see why he couldn't lighten a bit of the NXT UK contract thing and let their performers go wrestle and wrestle more on the independent UK scene just until that kind of builds back up and we get rid of the people who are making it awful.
Yeah, and there is guys working for NXT UK who have yet to kind of make a name for themselves on the indie scene. They were kind of signed very early into their career, like Ashton Smith, Amir Jordan, these kind of guys who if WWE if WWE invested into them could be big stars. We don't know.
I'd like to see both AEW and both WWE start doing this with their talents and UK talents especially, and start allowing them to do more in the indies now to save the indies really, like, because at the moment
they're depleted.
They're depleted. Half, if not 70% of the people that were working on the UK indies turned out to be bad
dirtbags
and awful people. So like now we're left with, you know, like we're left with the good, and that's good, but like we do need stars to come in now and help them out, and I hope that like, the both companies do that, especially WWE, because they have people they're well within their means to allow people to go and wrestle.
See, that's the thing, like WWE are at a stage where they have so many people signed that they can't all possibly work TV shows.
And the NXT UK especially, because, you know,
and like they kind of do it with NXT. Like there's a lot of guys in NXT. It's like if you sign for NXT, and say let's say you're not already an established guy like, you know, Keith Lee or you know, Johnny Gargano or whatever, guys who haven't already made a name. Like they'll take these guys and they'll put them on Evolve for months.
That's another thing. I'm surprised that WWE let that go down. Evolve, yeah.
I thought it was originally folded, but I heard that it's only it's just kind of suspended in time kind of thing like that.
What does that mean? Because every organization is kind of suspended in time.
I don't know.
Too.
Unless it's just temporarily shut down, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, but I don't see why WWE wouldn't come in and just buy it for the tape library at least. Yeah, you know, you've all your,
especially since they already showed one or two of their shows on the network already.
Yeah, so yeah, it's just a strange. I know WWE probably aren't in the financial.
Yeah, they shouldn't be making any hasty financial decisions.
Yeah, it's weird, strange, but yeah, it's just a strange old world that we're living in. It
is. It's just sad. It gets sadder and sadder. It really does. I suppose we can talk about Fyter Fest, I guess. Because that's this week. Well, night one is this week. So if you didn't know, AEW are running a pay-per-view, or at least a pay-per-view quality card, I guess, this week on Dynamite. And last year, Fyter Fest was their second ever pay-per-view. It was this big, you know, it was a takeoff Fyre Fest, which was like this, you know, just look it up. It's too much to explain. And it was in conjunction with C2E2, or no, CEO, and it was you know, big video game thing and whatever. And they announced that Fyter Fest was going to happen again this year. It was originally, of course, meant to take place in London.
I'd love to know where in London. Did they ever confirm that?
No, I never said it. Maybe the O2.
Yeah.
Is that big enough?
I know Tony Khan apparently has been wanting to do a show in Craven Cottage because he owns it.
Yeah.
But
that's like an outdoor stadium, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
That's always risky. Especially in England.
Yeah, it'd be handy though if it was, because we could go to it, because I know where Craven Cottage is. Because we stayed near it in January when I was there.
Hopefully next year, when things are a bit more normal.
Because just I'm just thinking out loud here, but Wembley is so far away from everything else in London. It's ridiculous. It's like an hour's journey to everything else.
I never been to London.
Yeah, so if you wanted to stay if you wanted to go to that show, you'd have to stay somewhere near Wembley.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't be able to go into London town. You'd be able to go in during the day, but it'd be trek in and out. Whereas, you know, if it was somewhere kind of if it was like Fulham or Craven Cottage, it'd be fucking great, because you'd be in London then. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Bit of geography for you.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, basically, AEW announced that they were going to run Fyter Fest on Wednesday as a special episode of Dynamite, and do it over 2 weeks, and basically give a pay-per-view, you know, for free.
Yeah.
So night one is today's Monday, so in 2 days' time. It's kind of the lesser of the two cards. I think night two is going to be the big one. So the card is as follows. We're not going to predict it or anything, because it's well we can if you want, but it's kind of hard to predict because it's Dynamite as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of build. So the matches announced for night one are Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. Private Party with Matt Hardy in their corner. Jurassic Express versus MJF and Wardlow. Hikaru Shida defending her AEW Women's Championship against Penelope Ford. Cody defending his AEW TNT Championship against Jake Hager. And the main event, I don't know if it'll be the main event, but the AEW World Tag Team Championships are on the line with Kenny Omega and Adam Page defending their titles against Best Friends Chuck Taylor and Trent. I'm looking forward to the tag team title match because
I think that'll be good.
I
look forward to seeing what Chucky T and Trent do, and like how well they can match up against the tag champions.
See, like I predict when Chuck Taylor and Trent became number one contenders back at Double or Nothing, I predicted that they would be the ones to take the titles off them, but they haven't really developed the Hangman Kenny storyline.
Yeah, much. I know. I don't think this is the time, especially with FTR coming in now.
Yeah, I don't know. That storyline's gone very quiet. Like,
I think the way it's gonna go is, FTR beat them.
Bucks.
No,
win the tag titles. Like,
win the tag titles, and then
that sets it off.
You get Bucks and FTR because it has to be for the titles, surely.
I don't think it needs it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but if you're talking about like main eventing your show, and like they were talking about like how their tag team titles will be one of their main titles,
that should be the main event of All Out, in my opinion.
It will be. I whenever it does happen, that will be the main event. It has to be.
It should be for All Out though. Why not? Like
if All Out is in front of a crowd.
Yeah, it should have a crowd.
You can't have that match behind closed doors. Really.
September?
Won't, probably. Know what's going on in America, like.
Well, Vince is running shows with crowds in July, in July apparently. The end of July.
Really?
He wants to start running shows with crowds, yeah.
Yeah, but he wants to, but like he still has to comply, and like half his crew is coronavirus now.
Yeah, we'll see. I guess. Yeah, it should get a crowd though. But like that being said, like lots of matches that have happened over the.
Not this one. This has
been 2 years. 2 years.
It's been more. It's been maybe 3 or 4 years of build. Like this has been a match. People like there's no. I will stop watching wrestling if this is done in front of my.
You've threatened that so many times.
Yeah, I have, and I stick by it.
I guess Cody Rhodes and Jake Hager could be good.
Yeah, but a lot of bells and whistles, I'd say.
Yeah, just kind of.
It's way too tempting for Cody because Hager has the inner circle and the inner circle.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like Cody's brilliant, like, but he doesn't do himself any favors.
He thinks too much about his matches, I think.
Yeah, he does.
It's just yeah.
So yeah, we have that. Oh, and I should mention as well that NXT completely, nothing to do with anything, but NXT are running a double.
Yeah, nothing got to do with anything that's going on.
Original idea.
Yeah.
It's like, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it a little so it doesn't look the same. So NXT decided to just kind of randomly name the next 2 weeks worth of NXT the Great American Bash.
Yeah.
So yeah. Running in conjunction then to Fyter Fest next week is NXT's Great American Bash, and like I'll run the card by you, and you can tell me what you think about it. So we have Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong in a strap match, which could be fun.
Yeah,
strap matches are either really good or really bad. And like I think Roddy would be hilarious in it because he'll just be so scared of Dexter. We have Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah and Robert Stone in a 2-on-1 intergender handicap match with the stipulation that if Ripley loses, she has to join the Robert Stone brand, which could be interesting. Which would imply that she's losing, but I don't know.
That'd be funny.
It would be funny to see her just walking around with Robert Stone. We have Oney Lorcan versus Timothy Thatcher, which is going to be a genuine fist fight, which could just be a fight. We have a fatal 4-way elimination match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship with Candice LeRae versus Mia Yim versus Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai, which is anyone's match really. I think any one of those women could win that.
Yeah.
And the match that I'm most looking forward to anyway next week, NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks in a non-title match, which should be splendid.
That'll be really, really good.
Because Sasha Banks is on a serious run of form at the moment.
Yeah.
Her and Bailey have both been.
I don't understand why it's not a title match though.
Because
I suppose
Sasha's going into a Raw Women's title match.
Yeah, but they wanted the whole story is that Sasha wants to be Sasha 2 belts. So like,
have her try and get
her try and get that, or try and get something. So she'll have the 2 belts.
Yeah, I guess. It'll still be a belter.
Oh, it will be a great match.
That should main event, I say.
Yeah, probably will. So we run through
night 2 of Fyter Fest.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah.
Well, I suppose I don't know.
Are we going to predict who we think's going to win?
We can. Yeah, sure we will. We'll do it quickly. Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz.
Santana and Ortiz.
Disagree. I go Private Party.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
got Matt in the corner.
I know they got Matt in the corner, but I think it's going to be a thing where they're going to keep losing, and then Matt is going to be like trying to show him different ways to win and all that, and he's going to be and like he'll
broken Private Party.
And because I think Santana and Ortiz need a win as well.
Yeah.
Or I think they'll get.
When they debuted, they were like proper hot shit. Like.
Yeah, but I think they'll get bested by like experience, and then Matt will be like, "Look, these things happen," or they'll get like low blowed or something, and then like it's part of the business, kid, and all that.
Fair enough. Yeah, maybe. Jurassic Express versus MJF and Wardlow.
MJF and Wardlow.
I agree. Just because like MJF just isn't losing.
He hasn't lost.
Yeah, he's just not losing. Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford for the women's title.
Shida.
Yeah, Shida. Yeah.
Like Penelope Ford lost her last match. Yeah. Sure, you got the title match by default.
Because everyone else is gone.
Yeah, it's like that episode of Simpsons. Where Homer's trying to visualize himself beating Dredrick Tatum in a boxing match. He's like, Homer Simpson wins by default due to heart failure.
Cody versus Jake Hager for the TNT title.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody's not dropping that title for a while.
Yeah.
And Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus the Best Friends for the tag titles. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Rapid fire. Good.
Rapid fire. We love it. We love to see it. Do you want to do rapid fire NXT?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Dexter Lumis versus Roderick Strong strap match.
Lumis.
I agree. Trying to remember them off the top of my head. Rhea Ripley versus Robert Stone and Aaliyah.
I'm gonna go Robert Stone and Aaliyah.
I am too, because that feels like a story.
Yeah.
And Rhea Ripley needs to do something, not competing for the women's title.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else was on the card? Odie Larkin versus Timothy Thatcher.
Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah, that man's a monster. I'm afraid of Timothy Thatcher. What else was on the card? I can't remember. Mia Yim versus Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai versus Tegan Nox.
Candice LeRae.
I'm going Tegan Nox. I think a babyface to kick things off. Because I feel like Candice, I don't know. I feel like I think
she's the only one that really has a story, I think.
But I suppose. Like I said, I could genuinely see any one of them winning.
Yeah.
Plus, this elimination match, which I'm gonna go Tegan Nox.
Yeah.
Just I think Io versus Tegan could be good. And then finally, what was the last one? Oh, Io Shirai versus Sasha Banks.
Io Shirai.
That's a tough
one. I think Io is gonna. Is Bailey in Sasha's corner?
Yeah.
I think Io and so. I think there's going to be a bit of kind of like shenanigans.
Really?
Not intentionally, but like Bailey will inadvertently cost Sasha the match or something like that. There will be more seeds planted.
I'm gonna go Io via DQ.
Yeah, that could be it too.
I'm gonna go. I think Bailey will I think Bailey will hop on. And,
maybe. That could be actually.
Because like it's one of these situations where you can't really have either of them lose. Like Anyways, so we'll go on to the second night of Fyter Fest, which is the better night in my opinion. Anyway, we have 8-man tag team action. We have FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, taking on the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon and Phoenix. We have 6-man tag team action. We have Colt Cabana and the Dark Order, Brody Lee and Stu Grayson, taking on SoCal Uncensored, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. We have Nyla Rose taking on a mystery opponent. We have Lance Archer versus Joey Janela. We have Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy, and we have Jon Moxley defending his AEW World Championship against Brian Cage.
If that goes ahead.
If that goes ahead, but as of now, it is.
Yeah.
So we'll rapid fire, I guess, again.
This is fun. We should do this more often.
Yeah. So FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers.
FTR and the Young Bucks.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Like
That's yeah.
I hope it's like I think it's going to be like the Rock and Cena against Miz and thing where they're both trying to one up each other.
That could be cool.
The entire time.
Yeah. Colt Cabana and the Dark Order versus SCU.
Colt Cabana and the Dark Order. I don't know. It's
that's the story.
That's a weird combination.
That's
of people.
The story. I mean, they're trying to recruit him, and he's kind of half giant.
Is it going to be like Daniel Bryan and the Wyatt family?
Maybe, and SCU is kind of like they're like his buddies because I think he's from Southern California as well. Maybe that could happen too.
Yeah.
I'll go Colt Cabana and the Dark Order as well, just for storyline progression.
Yeah.
Nyla Rose versus mystery opponent. I don't know.
Who's the mystery opponent?
I genuinely don't know. Abaddon. That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
See, apparently Kenny Omega single-handedly booked her debut and the Britt Baker Big Swole dumpster segment.
Interesting.
And they were like the two best women's segments in a while. I'm gonna say Abaddon. And Abaddon to get the victory.
Yeah, I'll go that as well.
She's just the hottest signee they have at the moment. So. Lance Archer versus Joey Janela.
Lance Archer.
Yeah, Joey Janela's going to get killed.
He's out there to get murdered.
His storyline right now is kind of like Jake Roberts has lost control of him and he's kind of gone mental.
Yeah.
I just think actually Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss the tag team. I do too. I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like if they won the tag titles. That'd be good.
Yeah. Like AEW has so many good tag teams.
They have the best tag division. It's the best tag
division. It may be the best tag division ever.
It's certainly up there.
Yeah.
It's just they kind of need to book them properly, what I mean? Prime example for me anyway is the Butcher and the Blade. Came in as this hot debut attacking Cody.
Yeah.
And then now they're hipsters or something? I don't know what their gimmick is.
It's really weird.
It is weird, but they have plenty of teams to fall back on, let's just put it that way. Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. My personal pick for match of the 2 weeks.
I'm gonna go Cassidy.
Has to be Cassidy.
Yeah.
Has to be, surely. Jericho has to see the logic here in doing the job for Orange.
The thing is, if Cassidy wins, that surely puts him in a world title match.
I hope
if he beats Jericho,
some crack of it.
Moxley
Cassidy.
Orange Cassidy.
That's such a contrast as well. Brilliant. And then finally, speaking of the World Championship match, Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage.
Jon Moxley.
I was going to go Brian Cage if this was a pay-per-view, but since it's not anymore, I'm going Jon Moxley.
Yeah. Yeah, I was in the same boat. When Brian Cage won the ladder match, I was thinking, Brian Cage is gonna win the title, but
it feels weird now.
It feels weird, and I think
especially since Moxley has been able to be there for a lot of the build.
Yeah, and I think and it's nothing to do with how they've been booking Brian Cage because
he's been brilliant.
It's just I think I don't know. I could genuinely see them having Cage win, but you just don't know.
You just don't know. The only thing we know that's running against that for the following week for the Great American Bash Night 2 is the Adam Cole versus Keith Lee winner take all NXT and NXT North American Championship match, which should be brilliant.
You'd have to imagine that Karrion Kross will have.
I reckon it's going to be a non-finish.
And Karrion Kross gets involved.
No contest, takes out two of them.
That'd be cool.
I reckon that's what happens.
What'll happen when you get a triple threat?
Probably, I would say.
I just don't see them unifying the belts. It's really weird.
Well, not unifying them, but just I think we've discussed this before.
Well, not unifying, but
having two belts on something. I think we've discussed
because I've seen New Japan and Naito now, and you're like,
it's a great idea in principle. But then in practice,
because it's a great image of him holding two belts.
Yeah, and then in practice, then you're just like, all right, well, he has to lose one of them.
Yeah,
and it was the same. It was the same with Becky when she won both belts. Everyone was like, she'll have to drop one of them.
Eventually. Or Rollins when he won the US title as well.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's cool. And I love. It's one of my personal favorite images. When someone has a load of belts.
Yeah,
I love that picture. But
my thing is it should be a rule that you actually can't hold two. So if you win two, then you have to vacate one, but you just win two just to say you won two or something.
Well, I think
because look at the UFC. The UFC have done it, but what has there been a bar Amanda Nunes? Has there been any person who's actually defended Cormier? Did he defend the light heavyweight title?
He did, yeah.
After he won the heavyweight.
He did, yeah. Once.
Rumble?
No. It was it Gustafsson?
No, Gustafsson was years.
He did. It was Cormier though.
Really? I didn't think Cormier dropped. I didn't think he
Was
dropped.
Was it Ozdemir?
I genuinely didn't think he dropped down to light heavyweight because I remember him saying that he probably couldn't.
Daniel Cormier. I did read though. Anyway. Yeah, Cormier is the second fighter in UFC history to hold titles in two weight classes simultaneously, and the first to defend titles in two weight divisions simultaneously. Or maybe it just means successful defenses.
Yeah.
Okay, so he defended the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship against Volkan Ozdemir on the 20th of January 2018, and then won the heavyweight title on the 7th of July 2018, and then dropped the light heavyweight title on December 28th, 2018. So, and he defended the heavyweight title while being light heavyweight champion as well, I guess. So yeah, I think that's probably what it means. But where Amanda Nunes is the exception to the rule, where she's actually gone up and down. Yeah, so, like it's different. Like we might have talked about it on our last podcast where I talked about, or it might have been off air, where I talked about Jay White gave an interview with New Japan, and he said like he thinks that Naito should have like the choice to defend which belt he wants. Like if he deems someone not like he thinks that.
I think you said this on the last episode.
I think I did, yeah. That he said that like Okada, Ibushi, and White should be the only people allowed to challenge for both belts.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because the double gold dash.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I can't see them. I've seen a lot of people saying that Keith Lee is winning it and winning both belts.
I don't think so.
I think it's ever since they booked this, I was like Karrion Kross is getting in, and it's no contest.
Yeah, you might get a triple threat for the world title or something.
Maybe for Takeover Boston. Maybe start building towards that. Maybe.
When's that? That's SummerSlam weekend. Yeah. But is that going to go ahead?
It's still currently on tap. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't really see that going ahead now. Like especially with how bad America's still getting. Especially WWE.
Unless they just cap on the next week, but won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very strange one. But anyway, is there anything else in the wrestling world? I know there was a lot.
Not to my knowledge, anyway. I can't think.
Yeah, no Taker.
Oh, fuck it,
in the land of everything that's happening. Like, there's times where this would be the biggest news.
Even if this was a slow news week, this would still be. I would still brush this aside.
Well, you just don't think he's
retiring? I don't believe it. Yeah, not for a second.
Well, he didn't. See, he's also always so reluctant to come out and say it. And
yeah.
So, did you? First off, you didn't watch the last couple of episodes of Last Week, did you?
No, I've seen like the closing.
It's hilarious. His relationship with Vince.
Yeah,
like they go back to John WrestleMania that he's not on the card. The one where Becky
34 was it?
Yeah. And remember he appeared on Raw the next night.
Yeah.
And he cut a promo or something.
Yeah.
But he arrived on the Saturday.
Oh, is this the professional that brought his gear kind of thing?
Yeah, and they told him, we need you for Raw's, and he was like, I didn't bring my gear, and Vince was like, you didn't bring your gear.
Yeah, a real professional would have brought his gear.
And then he was like, a real professional would have brought his gear, and Taker was like, a real professional would have booked me at the start out.
Yeah.
And Vince was just started laughing.
No, they're such a funny relationship. So, yeah, if you haven't guessed already, apparently The Undertaker's retired. Well, I don't know. Take it with a huge pinch of salt, because, like, The Undertaker's retired about 6 times now.
Yeah, but never ever officially.
He's never actually said the words, like.
And I don't think he ever will, to be honest with you. Joe, who I feel so sorry for. Michelle McCool. My God, that woman is a saint.
I know, yeah. She has a fucking geriatric for a husband, like, who, like, he's a cripple. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, he's not. He's not a cripple. No, that's unfair.
He's a bit worse for wear now, like.
His last, granted, we can't really count the Boneyard because that was filmed, but like his last outing was really good. Yeah. The tag match.
Yeah, that was good.
That was really good.
See, actually,
you can't really blame for the Goldberg match because Goldberg
concussed himself.
Did what Goldberg does.
Yeah. Well, she actually, Shane McMahon came out and said that he has one more match with the Undertaker left.
Yeah.
He wants to rematch him. Imagine that was his
God.
retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be too tempting for him.
There'll be someone. Someone will come along, like an Aleister Black or the Fiend or something. Like something tempting will come along.
Yeah, I'd love to see the Fiend.
I'd love to see the Fiend in like a cinematic match.
Yeah. A Firebone Funyard match.
Yeah. I'd like to see Aleister Black though. I think that could be a good match.
Yeah.
You can just see Aleister Black.
He's allegedly retiring at a time where there's so many potential matches for him.
That's it. Like I can just see it in my head. Show the Asai moonsault into a tombstone.
Yeah.
God, I can just see it in my head.
Like, did you see? Actually, after that match, the tag match he had, he went backstage to Vince and he was like, "I think I'm done. I'm done."
How many times?
And Vince was like,
"No, you're not."
Well, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
he was like, "No."
He
was like, "I think this is it, Vince." And he was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna follow your lead, Mark, but I do think that you have." He was like, Taker was like, "I just don't have it anymore." And he was like, "Didn't look like that out there."
See, like thing is, that's with Vince as well. Like, when he has money, when he has a money maker, he's not gonna let it go. Like, did you watch the Andre the Giant documentary?
Yeah.
Like, Andre physically couldn't walk, and he said to Vince, like, "I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And Vince was like, "All right, what about Hogan in WrestleMania?" Like, Andre was like, "I've been paid." BBB.
But like the thing is as well, right? It's also Taker because he's like, I really want to find. I really want to have a match where I'm satisfied with.
Oh, I know. But he's like,
it's a thing then where
he's chasing the dragon here, like.
But even at that, right? He has like, he'll have then a really really good match, and he'd be like, "Oh, I could do this forever." You know,
like, the bug. So, yeah, he's it's like he's chasing the dragon here. Like it's like he's had a taste of what the last match could be.
Yeah.
But then he's like, I can do better. Oh, it's just. I mean,
I think.
Like, I know he wasn't satisfied with the Roman match, but would anyone have been that disappointed if he stopped there? Like,
no, but you know,
or even.
Then the Cena match was cool, and like the fucking.
But he couldn't end on that though.
But the Boneyard match was so good.
It was great, yeah.
But like, yeah, it's.
But I promise you, even if like I know you could say it's a cinematic match, he needs to retire in front of a crowd and all this kind of stuff. But I promise you, the reason Taker wouldn't retire on that one is because he won. He won that match. You know that he's such a traditionalist that he wants to go out. He wants to lose on his last match.
Yeah, it's.
Who do you think? All right, all things considered, right? Like let's just say he's not done. Let's just say there's one more match. I'm sounding like Christian. One more match, right, in front of a crowd. Let's say next year's WrestleMania. Let's say we can actually have a crowd at next year's WrestleMania, and you build it. You physically say the words. This is Undertaker's last match.
Yeah.
Last one. Yeah. Main event. Last one. Who does it? Who wrestles him?
The Fiend.
The Fiend.
He wrestles the Fiend for the title.
For the title.
Wins
if
the
it's
Rumble.
His last match.
Wins the Rumble.
I wouldn't do it for his last one though.
Wins the Rumble. Goes in. Says win or lose. I'll walk away with the belt if I win.
Interesting. Yeah.
Goes in.
Fiend wins, surely.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But like,
because you need that for the Fiend, like.
Yeah.
Because even
the Fiend beats the Undertaker at WrestleMania and continues this massive title reign that
he doesn't have right now.
Yeah, but I will imagine that it's going to start pretty soon because I think it's going to end up with him beating Braun.
I'd imagine, yeah, SummerSlam is going to be him and Braun.
Yeah, I think like he's going to lose as like
Bray.
Swamp Bray or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
God.
Then it's gonna. I saw someone. Then it's gonna be the Fiend at SummerSlam. But like I saw someone then say that or it was Cultaholic pose a decent argument of it should be a 3 out of 2 or 2 out of 3 falls match
in the Swamp.
Which each characters. Fall, like you have Funhouse Bray, you have Swamp Bray, and then the Fiend is the third fall.
Yeah.
That would be cool because you could do it cinematically.
Yeah, that'd be good, alright, yeah. Yeah. Fiend is a good shout, alright, though. Fair. I don't know about the title though. See what Lance Storm's idea was. What? I think it was Lance Storm anyway. He said like he kind of took it that the Undertaker is done, like there won't be another Undertaker match. But he said that he should be announced for the Hall of Fame next year, for like the headliner for the Hall of Fame next year, and you bill it as the last ever Undertaker entrance at WrestleMania, and that like you have like the atypical, they all come out on the stage, and the Undertaker's one is a proper full length Undertaker entrance down to the ring, and like he said, like people would buy tickets just to see the last Undertaker entrance.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, which was, I thought was cool as well.
I saw also people saying that when he eventually does go into the Hall of Fame, that the show he should be the only one inducted. That the show should be just dedicated to him, and
because like no one will give a shit about anyone on the undercard.
And like what they should do is, instead of having like multiple people being inducted, just have like load of people from his career just go down and give a speech and stuff, and then
that'd be sick.
That'd be class.
Yeah, it would be.
Like you would have like Triple H,
Mayor Glenn Jacobs,
Triple H, Shane, Mayor Glenn, Shawn,
Vince.
Flair, Vince. You know, like you could get everyone, the who's who, like
Cena.
Because
like
Angle, all these people.
Yeah. Do you see actually the mock up WrestleMania poster that's doing the rounds at the moment? It's fake, like, but it's cool.
No.
The two build matches on the two main events they're having build on it is Roman versus The Rock and Rollins versus Punk. Oh God. And the thing is, like, it is obviously fake, but like people are like, if they did that, if they literally just had those two matches, you'd buy it, like, you would.
Apparently backstage is done as well.
Yeah, I don't know that I see though that's only like suspended, like it's only like they're putting a hold on it for now, like.
Yeah, it's a bit up in the air, I think.
It's shit, really.
But Fox also cancelled their boxing equivalent of it.
Yeah.
So I think they're just cancelling a lot of shows just due to
save money,
and maybe they might bring it back, but like, I don't know.
Like, it was grand, like, it was a fine, it was alright show.
It was nice to see CM Punk talk.
It was, yeah. And it was like, I think they did announce some stuff on it, like, they announced Morrison re-signing on it.
Yeah.
There was stuff like that.
I thought that was the bump, no?
No, I think he came back
on the bump,
but they announced the signing on backstage.
Yeah.
But
that's pretty much it. Wrap it up there.
We wrap it up there. It's been a very sad week, or a sad couple of weeks. Hopefully, the next time we come back, we have some brighter news. But in the current landscape of things, I doubt it. Anyway.